am the head of the OBE committee for the Faculty of Engineering Technology. In this video, I will present to you Outcome-Based Education or OBE for FTK students. At the end of this talk, you should be able to, number 1, explain your understanding on OBE effectively. Number 2, demonstrate how OBE has been implemented in your courses and in your program. Number 3, we hope that you will appreciate the need of OBE implementation and the spirit behind it. At the end of this session, this video, students need to answer a quiz through Google Form. There are 10 objective questions that you will need to answer. Here is the link and the QR code. We will show you the QR code again at the end of the video. We first begin with telling you what are the questions. Okay, number 1, what is ETAC BEM? Number 2, what is OBE? Number 3, what is CLO? Number 4, what is CQI? Number 5, how many PEOs are there? Number 6, how many PLOs? What are the essence of OBE? Number 8, when are PEO, PLO, and CLO accessed? Why CQI is needed? And finally, select the false statements for engineering and engineering technology courses. Okay, so what is OBE? OBE, or outcome-based education, means starting with a clear picture of what is important for students to be able to do. Then, organizing the curriculum, the instructions, and assessment to make sure that this learning ultimately happens. Spadi, 1994. Okay, this is a simple analogy about OBE. Okay, so we have the factory and we have the university. So the analogy between a factory and the university. For a factory, we know that the raw materials enter the factory. The raw materials enter the factory with minimum specifications. Okay, at the factory, it is processed. It uses tools to process the raw materials. There are workers. There's planning. There's managing, and there's quality control, and so on. The factory produces the product. The product has to meet some certain specifications, quality standards, and so on before it can go to the clients or the customers. Okay, in the university, it's the same thing. The student enters the university. Before they enter the university, they have to meet certain entry qualifications. When they are in the university, they undergo teaching and learning. Okay, they have a curriculum, they have syllabus, there are lecturers conducting the teaching and learning activities, there are assessments, they have curriculum activities, and so on. After the students completed their activities in the university, they graduate and they go to the clients, which is the job market. Okay, so the industry takes the university graduates as their human resource in their company. So these graduates, when they come out of the university, which is you, after you finish your 4 years in the university, you have to meet certain program specifications and certain outcomes, just like the products here. So now let's ask ourselves first. We need to know these abbreviations. OBE, we need to know what is PEO, we need to know what is PLO, CLO, CQI, ETAC, BEM, and IEM. OBE, outcome-based education. PEO, program educational objectives. PLO, program learning outcomes. CLO, course learning outcome. CQI, continuous quality improvement. BEM, Board of Engineers Malaysia. ETAC, Engineering Technology Accreditation Council. And IEM, Institute of Engineers Malaysia. Okay, so why do we need to implement OBE? Based on the simple analogy just now, you know, it's the outcomes or the specs or the standards that we hope the graduates will achieve before they go to the job market. Okay, in order to achieve global standards, global international standards, all programs must be outcome-based education. According to the Sydney Accord, if the program does not use OBE, the program shall not receive any accreditation. Okay, so what are these global standards? Okay, so in the International Engineering Alliance, there is the Washington Accord, the Sydney Accord, and the Dublin Accord. For engineering technologies, the Sydney Accord is our concern. So the Board of Engineers Malaysia have two accreditation bodies, which is the Engineering Accreditation Council, EAC, and ETAC Engineering Technology Accreditation Council. So this body, this accrediting body, accreditates engineering technology bachelor degrees, such as the degrees that's offered in FTK. Okay, so we follow the Sydney Accord. Okay, diplomas will follow the Dublin Accord. So in the Sydney Accord, there are also other signatories, which means other countries also participate in to follow this Sydney Accord, such as US, UK, Australia, and several other countries other than Malaysia. Okay, so what's the difference between engineers and technologists here? So engineers, they are more to research and design. Technologists are more to supervision and maintenance of the current systems. Okay, you can see the work scope is different. Yeah, the red color is more of the technologists. The blue is for the engineers. So research and design involve more theoretical depth. So they need to be strong in mathematics, engineering, sciences, and professional courses that's more theoretical. While technologies, they need just appropriate mathematics, sciences, and their professional courses are more practical. So you can see this one is the engineering breadth and depth curricula, and this is technology breadth, depth, and curricula. So for engineering technology is somewhere in between. So this is, if you remember question 10, this is your answer, yeah? So ETAC has provided the universities with manuals or guidelines. Now it's called standards. Okay, so it's basically a document, okay, that the university have to follow the requirements in this document in order to receive the accreditation for all the engineering technology programs. Okay, so what is IEM? IEM is the Institute of Engineers Malaysia. It's a professional learned society. It's a society. Okay, it is formed in 1959 and it's a qualifying body for professional engineer status in Malaysia. Yeah, it is not related to your accreditation of your program that you undergo 4 years in the university. Okay. Okay, so basically we have known why we need OBE. Okay, we want to be accredited by an international body. So now let's look into what is OBE. Okay, so it is a systematic approach in curriculum delivery that focuses on a set of goals. Remember, it focuses on the outcomes. Okay, so it's a systematic way in how the curriculum is delivered to the students. Okay, so it is based on a student-centered learning philosophy. Student-centered learning philosophy that focuses on empirically measuring students' performance, which is the outcomes. Yeah. So this is an approach that fosters the spirit of continual quality improvement, CQI. So what the students should be able to do? Students should be able to have basically three categories. You have your cognitive, which is your knowledge, your mental ability, okay, affective, how deeply you value the subject that you're learning, and also skills, psychomotor. Psychomotor is basically your physical skills that is related to the things that you learn. Okay, so how to achieve it by student-centered delivery? Remember, it's not what the teacher teach, it is what the student learn. Okay, so how do we know if the students have achieved the outcomes? It is through assessment. When the lecturers assess you, the instructors assess the students, then we know whether the students have achieved the outcomes or not. And finally, how do we close the loop? We do CQI lah, basically continuous quality improvement. So you have heard about the close the loop term. Okay, you have heard about this term, close the loop. So basically, a loop is a cycle. It's something a loop. Okay, so basically you have three levels of outcomes: the program educational objectives, the program learning outcomes or program outcomes (PO) here, and then you have the course learning outcomes, which is CLO, course outcomes CO. Okay, so basically we have to plan everything based on the outcomes. We have to first we of course we have to establish what are the outcomes. Then we design the learning and the content of or the syllabus or the content of the course based on the outcomes, and then we build this assessment to access these outcomes also. Okay, so basically when building assessment to assess the outcomes are through exams, projects, tests, quiz, and so on. Okay, so after we have finished building or planning on what we are going to do, then in comes the students. Okay, so now we deliver the content to the students. Okay, you know this is through your lectures, your tutorials, and your lab sessions. Okay, after we deliver, we have to assess the students, which is through quiz, tests, exams, your lab reports, your presentations, and then we have to keep those documents of your exams and tests lah. Okay, after we deliver, okay, we will need to of course assess your results. Simple say we need to check your results, we need to analyze the assessment data. Okay, and we need to see whether you're doing fine or not, or what improvements we need to do so that next semester we can teach the students better. So basically at this step we have to propose the improvements for next semester. Okay, so this checking process is done in the middle of the semester. After your test 1, we have to see whether the students are on the right track to achieve the outcomes. And then we also, of course, there's the NCQI. Okay, NCQI, mid-CQI is the middle of the semester, NCQI is the end of the semester. Okay, to check whether you are all on the right track to achieve the outcomes. Okay, so from the analysis, we will propose improvements for the next semester. Okay, this is when the lecturer asks you, do you have any suggestions so I can teach the students in the next semester better? This is when we need the students' feedback. Okay, so of course after that, before the next semester start, we have to adjust based on what has occurred. Okay, we have to adjust the design of the design of the teaching and learning process. We have to adjust the delivery, okay, or adjust the assessment before we enter a new cycle. So if for a course, the cycle is 1 semester for a course. Okay, for course learning outcomes, the cycle is 1 semester. For program learning outcomes, the cycle is 4 years, which means at the end of your 4 years. For PEO, program educational outcomes, we assess the students 3 to 5 years after they graduate. Okay, so designing the curriculum, the delivery of the teaching and learning process, the assessment, the evaluation, and the CQI, as previously mentioned, is all focused on the learning outcomes, whether the students have achieved the outcomes. Okay, so how do we implement? Basically, you have 3 levels. You have the PEO, you have the PLO, and you have the CLO. So PEO, program educational objectives. We will access the alumni 3 to 5 years after graduation. Okay. Then the PLO, upon graduation, you have to fill out a survey form to assess whether you have achieved the outcomes after 4 years. And then, of course, course learning outcomes. At the end of the semester, we will conclude if you have achieved the outcomes or not. So this one, the most familiar one to students is of course, this one by your exam, your test, quizzes, lab reports, and so on. PLO is before your convocation, you need to fill up a survey form. And PEO also, 3 to 5 years after graduation, the university will come and look for you to fill up a survey form so that we can gather data to be presented to the accreditation council, so they will give us the accreditation for your juniors. So basically, how many PEOs we have? Okay, so basically we have 3 PEOs. Okay, PEO1, PEO2, and PEO3. So after 3 to 5 years after the graduates have graduated, 3 to 5 years after the convocation, we will need to evaluate these 3 items. Okay, are the alumni successful or able to practice with fundamental and current knowledge in your field in line with the industry development, specializing in your specialization? Okay, so 3 to 5 years, are the alumni able to do this? Number 1. Number 2, are the alumni able to engage in activities related to the engineering technology field, and then with technical competency, keeping abreast with current technological developments, specializing in your specialization? Okay, are you engaged? Are the alumni engaged in the activities related to the field of engineering that they were in? And finally, number 3, okay, PO3, 3 to 5 years later, are the alumni still participating in activities for continuous self-betterment and societal betterment grounded with ethical and professional standards? So 3 to 5 years after you graduate, you'll be required to take a survey so that we can have the data to show that our graduates, our alumni, are able to achieve these 3 outcomes. Basically, you have 12 PLOs beginning October semester 1 2021. Okay, for all students, for first year students, second year student, third year student, and for the fourth year students. So basically, there are 12 PLOs. This is also a requirement by ETAC. Okay, so this is the 12 that we hope all graduates will be able to achieve at the end of 4 years. Okay, this is an example of CLOs, course learning outcomes. You will notice that your lecturer will present the course learning outcomes of each course in the beginning of the semester, normally week 1. So you will be able to see this sentence. At the end of this course, students will be able to, course learning outcome number 1, apply fundamental theory of dynamics and solid mechanics in the experiments. Okay, so these are example course learning outcomes for this course, engineering laboratory 2. So engineering lab, you can guess it's about, there are many experiments. Okay, so apply fundamental theory, you know this is knowledge. So course learning outcome 1 is mapped to PLO 1, which is knowledge. C is connective. So you got connective, psychomotor, and affective. Okay, so connective level 3. Okay, and CLO 1 is mapped to LOD 1 also. So you can notice that CLO 2, okay, conduct experiment correctly using appropriate instruments and methods, conduct experiments. So this is mapped to PLO 4, which is investigation. So it is also mapped to your psychomotor skills, level 4. So conduct experiments, as you can guess, involves going to the lab, okay, and then conducting experiments. So is a psychomotor skill. And then number 3, course learning outcome number 3, demonstrate work effectively and cooperate in a group. So you know this is mapped to PLO 9, which is individual and teamwork. Okay, so it's an effective skill. Okay, your values in regards this topic. Okay, so basically those are the course learning outcomes for a course every semester. So if you have 7-8 courses, then each course will have its own sets of learning outcomes that you have to achieve. By the end of the semester, we hope you will get that, but of course most of you do achieve the outcomes. Okay, so basically you will notice previously you have the LOD, you have the PLO, and you have the CPA. So CPA is for the represents the cognitive, the psychomotor, and the affective domains. Okay, so again, cognitive is about the mental ability of the student or the graduate, okay, or the technical knowledge. Yeah. Okay, affective is about how much the student or the graduate values the course or the subject they have taken. Okay, and finally you have a psychomotor domain, which is the physical skill. So previously, if you notice, is a laboratory course, so you know there will be some physical skills that the student need to pick up at the end of the semester. Yeah, so having all three, okay, will create a balanced and holistic graduate. Okay, so you have heard about LOD in CLOs. So you will notice that CLOs are mapped to LOD, PLO, and CP or A. Okay, so what are LODs? LOD stands for Learning Outcome Domain. Okay, so why there is this LOD? Okay, basically it's a requirement by MQF, second edition, or Malaysian Qualification Framework. Basically is hasrat kerajaan Malaysia, okay, menghasilkan graduan yang macam mana. Okay, so basically there's this 19 that the MQF specifies that the students need to achieve. Okay, so what if the students fail to achieve the outcomes? Okay, so basically again there's 3 levels of outcomes: the program educational objectives, the program learning outcomes, and the course learning outcomes. So if the students or graduates or alumni fail to achieve the outcomes, we have to do CQI. Remember the closed loop, the cycle, the plan, do, act, check, act cycle. Okay, so there is a portion for continuous or continual quality improvement. So we have to improve. Okay, so basically improvement is doing. So basically if you look at these cycles, you will notice we all the program educational objectives, the program outcomes, the course outcomes, they are actually linked to one another, okay, or better say they are mapped to one another. So so the program educational objectives, we take input from the alumni, the mission and the vision of the university, the stakeholders input, and the advisory committee to design the program educational objectives. Okay, so 3 to 5 years after the graduates leave the university, we have to assess those alumni. Okay, so which is you 3 to 5 years later after you graduate. Okay, we have to assess your response. Okay, and then we have to do improvements to the current program objective, educational objectives, in order to be current to the current situation in the industry. Okay, and this is mapped to the program outcomes, or linked to the program outcomes. It's mapped to the program outcomes. Okay, so again, program educational objectives have 3. Okay, 3 statements. Okay, the program learning outcomes, we have 12. Okay, the same 12, this 12 program learning outcomes, we also have to access it, and we have to analyze the results, and we will have to do continual quality improvement. Okay, and then we have the course outcomes, which is mapped to the program learning outcomes. Okay, CLO, PLO. Okay, same thing. This is what is happening in the semesters. Okay, we will need to assess you through tests, quiz, exams, analyze those results, and do CQI lah, so that every semester we hope will be better than the previous semester. Okay. Okay, so what are the assessment tools here? Assessment tools, how do we assess you? Okay, for CLO, at the end of the semester, okay, you will know that you will have your marks, okay, from the final test, assignments, projects, and so on. Okay, for PLO, it's end of 4 years. So again, I remind you, you have to do your survey, your exit survey before you can attend your convocation. You also have to help get the data from your industrial supervisor during your internship, during LI, latihan industry. Okay, industrial training. Okay, so we need all the three datas in order to evaluate the achievement of the PLO. That's at the end of 4 years. Okay, so we can always create, not always create, always improve the program so that it will be better for the next batch. Okay, and PEO, okay, PEO is 3 to 5 years after graduation. Okay, basically, currently we have this survey for the alumni. Also, we have a survey for the industry. Okay, so anyone which is more senior than the alumni in the same industry may fill up the survey form. Okay, so let's look at some analysis and CQI at program learning outcomes level. Yeah, so we have a few batches of graduates already. Okay, so we can look at some of them. Okay, so basically, how do we do PLO monitoring and assessment? Monitor means we look at the current situation, and then if we need to do some adjustment, we do it on the spot. That's monitoring. Okay, so basically, real-time monitoring every semester, your marks, your PLO attainment, which is obtained from OBCs. OBCs is basically a software that is made by the university, so that we can calculate the PLO attainment for each student. Okay, and you should discuss this with your PAK if you cannot achieve the current PLO attainment that you need. Okay, so at the end of 4 years program, then we will be able to assess the full PLO attainment. Okay, again, there's 3 tools. Okay, the first one is the OBCs marks. This one to basically the software will do it for us. They will calculate and the marks for each PLO. So there's basically 12 marks because there's 12 PLOs. Okay, so then you have the exit survey, which is the graduates' perception whether they themselves have achieved the PLOs or not. And finally, you have the exit survey, which is the industry's perception, which is the industrial supervisor of the student for latihan industry or internship or industrial training. Okay, they will give their perception whether the student has achieved the 12 PLOs or not. Okay, so this is an example. This is from OBCs. So basically, okay, these are the names of the students. So we will know that what are their marks, okay, based on calculated through the system. So then there will be an average whether this batch or this cohort of students have achieved the PLO or not. You can see up here, PLO, this is until PLO 9. Of course, there's more, 10, 11, and 12. All right. Then, okay, there is also a presentation in a bar chart form, so we can see, okay. Okay, for students, you can monitor your PLO attainment, okay, through SMAP Online. Okay, basically, you just need to follow these procedures. Log into SMAP, click examination details. Okay, in the OBE attainment column, you can click this icon. Okay, then you should be able to check the latest semester examination results. Okay, as long as you have paid your fees. If you did not pay your fees, you cannot check the results. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, so this is an example. So you can see red means did not pass the KPI, did not pass, did not, you see the KPI is 50, so under 50 is red in color, simple said. So basically the PLO attainment for the semester will be displayed. Okay, PLOs that fail to achieve the KPI for specific courses will be displayed in red color. Okay. Okay, so you will be able to look at your own bar chart and also your spider web. Okay, so this is what we suggest. Okay, that you print your PLO attainment. Okay, and then you should bring it to your PAK for signature. And you must keep your PLO attainment until graduation. So you can self-monitor yourself whether you have achieved the PLOs or not. Okay, so what about CLO? CLO is of course the most common thing that you undergo in a semester. Every course you will need to take tests, you need to take exams. So we need to analyze that. So basically, test meets CQI. So normally a test will be conducted before week 9. Okay, the marks should be returned to the student before week 9. Okay, so students achieving less than 50% marks will undergo a CQI such as extra classes, personal tutoring, etc. Okay, this benefits the student, of course. So the tools that we will use, yes, of course, the test marks, and also this mid-semester course learning outcomes, achievement analysis, and CQI report. Okay. Okay, at the end of the semester, okay, the overall marks will be generated. Okay, the attainment of the CLO will be calculated by OBCs. Okay, and if the CLO is less than 50%, we have to propose improvement strategies, continual quality improvement that will be recorded in the system for the next semester. Okay, so basically we do this analysis and propose for the next semester. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, so there's 3 CLOs which is mapped to 3 PLOs. Okay, so you can see the KPI is 50 marks here. Okay, those are the statements, the CLO statements. Okay, so we can see that 23 of 23 students achieve the KPI 50 marks. So 100% achieve these course learning outcomes. So basically 3 of these course learning outcomes are achieved. So basically it's like that, yeah. So we can see, okay, your each name, how much they get, what are the marks that they get, and then what is the percentages for the course learning outcomes. Course learning outcomes 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we have come to the end of the OBE explanation. So now ask yourself, have you attained all these? Okay, number 1, are you able to explain your understanding on OBE effectively? Okay, which is a connective ability, your mental ability in regards of this topic OBE. Okay, are you able to demonstrate how OBE has been implemented in your courses and program? Okay, and I hope after this video ends, you'll be able to appreciate the need of OBE implementation and the spirit behind it. Okay, so education is outcome-based, is a learner-centered, results-oriented system founded on the belief that all individuals can learn. Okay, Charles James Towers, 1996. Okay, so final thing, all students, you're required to do this quiz. You can click on the link given in the comment, or you can scan the QR code. All students are required to do this quiz, yes, to assess your understanding, and also we need to document. We need to keep your responses as evidence that the students are aware of OBE in your program. Okay, Thank you very much. The end. Thank you all.